agreement. Well, I said, yes, you are. The state Supreme Court said, yes, you are. And the damn fool coward who was the trial judge went with the mob justice, and it looks like his wife wasn't going to fuck him anymore if she didn't get what she wanted, because she was an avid feminist and she wanted him prosecuted with this hashtag Me Too garbage. Now, they've got a cause that's interesting, just like BLM has, but it's been corrupted into something else, into an anti-man thing, an anti-masculinity, destruction with the nuclear family movement, both of them. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is, and the state Supreme Court let him out, and unfortunately, Mr. Cosby had to spend a whole lot more time in a prison than he ought to have spent. He should have been allowed to remain free on bond pending the outcome of the appeal, but the bastard that was sitting up in the Batcave on the bench wanted to satisfy his little freak-ass wife, so he said, bond revoked, you go in and start serving your time, which brings us to this punk-ass Juicy Jesse that has been benefited by this LGBTQ cult nonsense that swept Chicago from Lightfoot, and Kim Fox, who are in bed with it. And Kim Fox ought to be prosecuted and turned out of office at the very least at the next election. She lied and hasn't delivered on police reform that she promised when she campaigned for that office. And she was meeting with, having lunch and dinner with Smollett's family. And she recused herself because of the appearance of impropriety, but she put herself back on the case to dismiss the charges. Technically it's called null prost, or nulla prosequi, which means to desist in the prosecution and let him apply a bond so jeopardy would attach, but they found some charges that weren't embraced, so they went after him for them. Mm-hmm. They had him on VidCam at a costume shop during Halloween week with the two Nigerians buying that noose. They had cameras from security cameras on the night in question, and in the footage from them, you see Smollett putting the noose on his own neck after the Nigerians took off when a car came by. Whoa. And, it's a big farce. And what was he doing? Well, the punk-ass sissy was trying to get some notoriety as a LGBTQ cult hero. And additionally, by marriage, Kamala Harris is his auntie. So He was conspiring with Kamala Harris, who he met with earlier that day and had been with most of the week, and Cory Booker, so they could take a bill that Conyers introduced as the gay rights bill back in 1997 off the table, where it had been put over and over in Congress, and they attempted to get it passed as the anti-lynch bill. Now it is passed as the Emmett Till anti-lynch bill. It doesn't do a damn thing for black folk. Mm-hmm. Doesn't even hardly mention us in there, and there hasn't been a lynching in 50 years, 40 years, except an occasional just random homicide that might look like that. And what it is it's a gay rights bill. So just wowee whoopee. So they ought to go investigate it, and they ought to snatch Kamala Harris's ass and Cory Booker's ass and prosecute them for conspiring to do what they did. Now, his family was saying, well, it's just a nonviolent something. Yeah, but you're trying to not just do what is the ordinary case when somebody makes a false claim. Usually that involves one individual. I don't like him, or I don't like her, or whatever the case may be. But this fool was trying to take on and cripple the whole system of public peace, dignity, and order. And to get a cult, the LGBTQ cult, home free on some bullshit legislation that they're crippling black folk with and riding on our backs in order to get passed. Now, I don't have anything against the gay boy or girl getting their freak on in their bedroom. That's their business. But you see, LGBTQ is a cult. And the significance is this. These things you cannot discriminate against anyone for. race, color, national origin, sex, age, medical condition, and the last one is religion. Now, all of the rest of them are status situations that you cannot control. Religion, there is control over that in a fashion, but not much, because mama takes child in diapers to synagogue, church, or mosque, and by the time that child is sub-teen, he's been brainwashed so he or she can't question the religion. So what they want to do is, using their transvestite sickos, cross-dressers, they want to talk to the 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds in public libraries, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds in school, and read to them. They dress them up as mamas, but with a negative twist to it, because they make the female look like a harlot the way they dress up. So child psychology, human child psychology, is clear that children, boy and girl, are most responsive to a female figure until they get about 8 years old. So these children in their formative years are brainwashed by a female figure that doesn't get them just on Sunday, but gets them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, every day of the week, to brainwash them until they are now subject to the strictures of a secular religion. You can't teach a religion in a public school, but you can teach a secular religion, LGBTQ cult religion, in school. And by the way, a lot of gay folk don't like LGBTQ. They think it's a cult because they don't have any problem with the nuclear family. A lot of them turn gay because they got victimized by some pedophile pervert that seems to be a protected category for this cult. And the Black Caucus in D.C. is just surrogates for that cult, and a lot of them are secret members because they are practitioners. They did the Q thing, which in that LGBTQ stands for questioning and queer, and they question, and now they don't want to be brought out of their little closets. So you've got that, and too many of them in Congress are masquerading that way because all they support is LGBTQ and nothing black. And by the way, you should look up your Black Caucus members in D.C. and you will find that's just about all they support is LGBTQ nonsense and some poverty frou-frou. You've got Bernie Kustoff from the 8th district that goes from East Memphis all the way up to Jackson, Tennessee, and you'll find all he pushes is Jewish and gay stuff. And you have Steve Cohen, who has been elected over and over again for the 9th district here in Memphis, which is 92% black, and you'll find all he votes for is gay stuff and Jewish stuff, nothing black except a little poverty frou-frou. And his main claim to fame, for example, is a piece of legislation that binds the congressional cafeteria into using only paper straws. So, I mean, what the hell? You see this thing in Mason, Tennessee. What the dodge is there is the Black Caucus in Tennessee did a little bit of good work, finished up at 11 o'clock last night. They jumped his ass, the comptroller, and said, hey, look, Mason has its charter from the legislature. You can't touch it. And by the way, Jackass in Chief, Biden and company have put some money out, recovery stuff. We're going to use that to pay off this debt to the state treasury. And by the way, some of these people that are responsible for getting Mason into debt need to be prosecuted, and the money needs to be gotten from them. Now, what's going on in Mason? Mason wants the factory, the Ford factory. The Ford factory is going to be located 12 miles from Mason. Mason has 5,600 residents, 62% of them are black. Now, here's why they want it. They have a water outlet and a sewage input location that they would have to redo to develop it. Now, Ford's going to bring in 27,500